break down day 6 of training camp, baby. All right, welcome back to the Onebar and Lupagus show. I'm Onebar with Lupagus, and we're going to be ripping out day 6 news and nuggets of Vikings training camp.
Ripping and gripping, as they say. I'm not sure when they say that or why they say that, but they say it. They definitely say it. Most they say is to get your ass to the liquor store, get yourself some Liftbridge brews. Liftbridge, the sponsor of the Onebar and Lupagus show and sponsor of this video that we're talking about right now.
Delicious, yummy beers. Get them. Let us know in the comments which one is your favorite. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel while you're here. Let's get to 8,000 subs. But let's talk.
And hashtag Liftbridge. We still have not yet given away that gift card to their online store. We'll probably do it later this week. But yeah, hashtag Liftbridge in the comments for your chance to win a $50 Bone gift card to Liftbridge's online store.
Yes.
You know what? Yeah, if there was a theme for today's practice, I think it's got to be injuries, especially to the poor Minnesota Vikings running back group. You know, obviously the injury, we already did a video on it, but Irv Smith Jr. Being lost the rest of camp, not great news. But he wasn't the only one getting dinged up today. Delvin Cook left the field for a while. Seems he hurt his little fingers, his fingies there a little bit, but he did return later. Madison also had finger injuries. I mean, I think these were even just in the walkthrough portion of practice. This catching balls weird. I'm not sure what it was. You were there. Maybe you have more insight into these finger injuries, why everybody's getting fingered on this team. And then Kenny Ngwangu is day-to-day with a lower body injury. I'm not sure if that's below the waist, above the knees. Not sure what part of his lower body is injured, but he is day-to-day. Don't want to see that from your kick returner.
No, but I mean, it sounds like all these are no big deal. Like I said, Dalvin Cook came back. Madison was out there at the end, ripping off a big old run, took one to the house in scrimmage, which was great to see. And I know we're going to dive into some news and nuggets, but just being there, a couple things. First time being there this year. A couple things that really stood out to me is that Kellen Mond, I mean, our backup quarterback situation is very dire at best. I mean, Kellen Mond he made some good passes and stuff, but when they were out there scrimmaging, I mean, Cousins, Manning were in the pocket making throws. Kellen Mond did not hesitate. He was just always just scrambling. It seemed like he was just in a very big hurry to get out of the backfield. So that stood out to me. But this offense, wide receivers. So I had a front row seat to where the receivers were and the quarterbacks were. That's what I saw. I didn't get to see much defense, so I don't have much to say about that. But these receivers, very good group. This is going to be very tough to decide who they end up getting rid of because they were catching everything. I mean, yes, there was definitely some drops. Dan Chesina, I know we're going to be talking about. He had a very ugly drop, but these receiver core was getting me very hot and heavy.
Wow. Again, we should give some thanks to Will Reagans from SI.com. A lot of these notes came from his perspective today. Yes, you mentioned the depth of wide receivers, and I think the depth of the running backs are coming in handy right now for the Vikings because now you get the young guys, Ty Chandler, Bryant Koback getting a bunch of the reps, so it's going to help their development, especially when it comes to Ty Chandler, who sounds like really was getting a lot of third-team reps, even over Kenny Ngwangu, who I think is probably just going to be the returner this year from what I'm hearing so far. But yes, we mentioned the veterans kind of got a day off. A lot of the veterans did. So that pushed up on defense. Lewis Cine, Andrew Booth running with the ones, getting reps against Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. And it sounds like those two young guys were holding their own and making some plays. And that jawing continues from Andrew Booth Jr. And I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I can say for sure that the Booth jawing and swagger is absolutely for real. It did not. I mean, the practice just started and he was up in God, I don't even remember whose face it was. I don't think. I want to say Smith Marset, but I'm not sure. But yeah, he's the real deal. He was out there with the ones, like you said, because Peterson was out and Cine also looking very, very good. Caleb Evans had some good plays as well, and he was going against some damn good players.
Yeah, what I like to hear too is that both Cine and Booth stayed after together to catch balls from the machine, so they're working on their skills. So you love to see that, not just hurrying back, getting to the showers and getting the hell out of there, working on their craft. Love to see that from a couple young and high draft picks. Moving over to offense here for a minute. Ed Ingram, Jesse Davis got one of his scheduled days off, and Ed Ingram got first-team right guard reps. Chris Reed was playing second-team centers. Both these are very, very interesting. Has Ed Ingram already shot up to being the backup right guard. I think it's more Chris Reed. They're trying to work him at center because Garrett Bradbury's been so god awful. Does sound like he had one snap that went over Sean Manning's head, but Chris Reed, seen and boosted after practice and worked on his snap. So, what do you think with this? Chris Reed, backup center, maybe not starting on the O line.
Oh, I think Chris Reed will be our starting center week 1. This isn't just it's going to happen. Bradbury's had a horrible camp. They don't just – Chris Reed isn't magically all of a sudden getting snaps at center. It's because they're realizing how bad Bradbury is. And I think Chris Reed will be the starting center. Everybody's hoping it will happen.
And tomorrow pads are going on, so it's going to be full bore. You can really get a good idea of these linemen. They're going to be going against each other full speed. So if Bradbury falters again, I wouldn't be surprised they start pulling the plug early as next week, getting Chris Reed taking first-team reps. Why the hell not? We don't need to see any more Garrett Bradbury around here. So let's see. Let's go. Yeah, Kellen Mond, you already talked about him. Sounds like he's still inconsistent, not being decisive when it comes to throwing the football. You mentioned, he's taken off and running right away. So, again, Kellen Mond, to me, this is one of these battles. I really think he just needs to win this thing. And it sounds like right now it's just nothing but mixed signals.
Yeah, and Sean Mannion looked bad today. I mean, it was fun. After every bad pass, he's always going like this to the receiver, like he did the wrong thing. You know what? Maybe the receiver did. But Mannion, Kevin O'Connell was out there throwing balls to the receivers during a receiver drill, and Kevin O'Connell looked better than those two. So I think he should get suited up. He can be a player coach because if Cousins goes down, clearly the Vikings are in trouble because these two guys, yikes.
Yeah, and again, we've got to give Mon a little bit of breathing room here. This is really – he missed a big chunk of camp last year with COVID. He never got a sniff during any game. So – this is essentially his rookie season, so he's going to have a little bit of a growing pains and a learning curve. But you wish learning curve. Yeah, I love that show. You wish you would see a little more consistency from Kellen Mond. But again, Wes Phillips, apparently, I mean, he's probably just blowing smoke up our asses, but it sounds like he really likes what he's seeing from Kellen Mond.
Well, I mean, it's not like Kellen Mond looked disastrous out there. It's just, I mean, there's just such a big drop off from Kirk Cousins. I mean, Kirk Cousins was throwing that thing, and he was throwing it beautifully. He had a nice long touchdown to Adam Thielen, which was nice. And then all of a sudden these guys come in and it's just can't compare.
Do Kellen Mond and Kevin O'Connell look alike when they're on the field? Maybe he actually was looking at Kevin O'Connell, Wes Phillips, and was really impressed.
He might have been. Kevin O'Connell was zipping that thing. Another thing is the swagger that some of these guys have. Smith-Marset, I mean, he's out there just dancing, making one-handed catches, just looking great. KJ Osborne, people in the crowd are, I mean, if you would have told me people would be screaming for KJ Osborne last year, I'd tell you you're nuts. And you can tell the confidence on these guys are just extremely, extremely high.
Yeah, there's two positions I wanted to see guys be cocky as hell in his corner and his wide receiver, and I'm glad we're seeing it. I feel like we've been way too vanilla around here at those positions the last few years in Minnesota. So just some random notes here. We've already touched on a couple of these, but Harrison Hand made some nice plays on one-on-ones. Harrison Hand, to me, I think he's got an inside track to be fifth corner maybe on this team. We mentioned Dan Chesina's horrible drop. Can you please go into detail about this drop and how bad it was?
It was just a bad drop. He went over the middle. He would have probably took it to the house. And, I had a pretty good angle on it. It didn't look like it was tipped, but it just pretty much bounced off his body.
You wonder if there's something wrong with this guy's eyes. We've seen him miss tackles where it's just him and a guy. Now he can't catch the ball. Dan Chesina. I don't like his chances of making this team. I don't like him one bit.
Might be Dan Chesina later.
It might. Whoa. Wow.
One other thing, Zach Davidson was out there hot and heavy, clearly with Irv Smith out. I honestly don't remember a single play of Johnny Munt, but Zach Davidson, when they were out there, they were not shy to get him the ball. And when they were doing other drills, he had a couple of ugly drops as well. But when he was out there, when they were scrimmaging, he was making the catches. He was making the plays. So maybe he's a guy they could see stepping in to be a pass catcher. Also, I saw him last year, but he looks like he shrunk. I mean, for being such a big guy, he doesn't look really that big compared to anybody else.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you about that. That's maybe he's been doing a lot of saunas.
Mystery.
Wyatt Davis continues to run with the threes. Sounds like he is just buried on his depth chart. I think his chances to make the team are about as pretty even with Dan Chesina's at this point.
Yeah, barring an injury, Wyatt Davis cannot see it. Can't see it at all. Darisaw was getting quite a bit of love from somebody. I can't remember. I mean, somebody was comparing him to Trent Williams. I don't know if it was a coach or whatever, but just the work ethic on this guy and the ceiling. This guy, we could be in for a very good year of Mr. Darius.
So we got Dan Chestino later, and buy it, Davis. Buy it. Is that one good?
Not really. Not great.
All right, the last real nugget to come out was the punt returner, which is a job that is completely wide open on this team right now, and it sounds like a handful of guys are taking reps. Amir Smith-Marset, Jalen Naylor, Albert Wilson, KJ Osborne, and breaking from Onebar, Thomas Hennigan also getting punts.
Hennigan was out there, and he was looking damn good. Also, Hennigan in the wide receiver drills was looking good as well. But, yeah, it seems like the punt the good thing is, I mean, that was the first thing they did. Everybody looked pretty damn smooth. I got to say, out of all of them, Albert Wilson probably looked the most natural back there catching the thing. And even Albert Wilson in pass drills, we haven't seen much of his name come up in any of the notes, but he just looks smooth out there. He just looks like he's done it before, but there was no concerns when he was catching that punt.
Yeah. So, again, I think punt returner is an underrated battle in this camp. We're not maybe talking about that enough. And you looked at all the times Marcus Sherrill's flip field position for the Vikings. It can be huge for games. It can help you win. And I hope one of these guys just takes it and runs with it and hope it happens soon, because I think the more reps you get, the better off they'll be.
Yeah, I hope they just pick whoever's going to return punts quickly. I don't want this to come down to the end. I want them returning all the punts, as many as they can in preseason, not just mixing
bubblegum in a dish.
Bubblegum in a dish. The biggest news for me is the fact that Chris Reed is getting work in at center. That's my biggest takeaway. The injuries aside from Irv Smith, clearly that's big news, but I don't think any of these other injuries are going to be a big issue. But Chris Reed, get this man in. Get him in soon.
Yeah, I think tomorrow will be huge. It'll be a huge factor in how soon they do bump him up. How Bradbury does. And I will be there with you tomorrow. Onebar and Lupagus will be at training camp. If you're there, say hello. Maybe buy us a beer. Maybe we'll buy you one back.
We'd love to buy you a beer. Some sort of awkward high five as well. Hit us up. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Get your butts to the liquor store or head over to the brewery and grab a lift bridge.
Hell yeah, why not? Remember this. Maybe even tell a lift bridge this cool fact that you know about a certain kind of frog called the horror frog. Horror frog. Make sure you're hearing this right. The horror frog will break its own bones to make claws out of them and use them as defensive weapons.